I wanted to talk today about the naturality of like that the kind of the beauty industry is kind of like transferring to. And what I mean by that is that a lot of makeup looks in the beauty industry, in the fashion industry and whatnot, is kind of transferring to looking like no makeup but fresh, youthful, and raw. And you can see a lot of these type of looks, like a few examples would be Zendaya, Hailey Bieber, Gigi Hadid, and a lot of other celebrities that are in the fashion realm that are starting to put on this like natural, very blushy, youthful and raw looking makeup looks, right? And I was thinking to myself how it's really interesting how when looking at the timeline of makeup, we have like started to we were once super eccentric, and don't get me wrong, we're still eccentric now, but like we were once super duper eccentric, and it's like now we're transferring to trying to look like how we would look without anything on at all. And I feel like the world is gaining this yearning, or they're not gaining, but like they're yearning for naturality. They're yearning for rawness, because we're in a day and age where everything kind of feels hidden and everything feels like a cover up to the real thing. And I think we're all just really yearning for something that's true, something that's honest. And even though we're still using makeup and it's not 100% honest, I feel like we're taking baby steps. It's kind of like if you're addicted to something and you can't just go cold turkey, you have to kind of ease your way off of something. I kind of feel like we're kind of going in that direction. Obviously, makeup is a tool and an artistry to where you can create something artistic and different, and it's meant to be crazy and also subtle and everything, because that's what art is. Art is a humongous spectrum of like super high and crazy and artistic and bright, and then also really subtle and kind of like you don't really fully understand it, or it's like natural. And you know, there's different forms of art, and I think that's the same way with makeup as well. But trends speak very loud, and I think the trends of this not new type of makeup look, but this makeup look that we're kind of seeing a lot of celebrities hone in on, I think it showcases something. I think it showcases the mind of civilization right now, and we're looking for something real, something human, you know, in the world of AI. And I know everyone's talking about AI, oh my gosh, it's so annoying, but it's true. I think we're yearning, because the world is being directed in a way, in a path where we aren't really going to be just human anymore. It's not going to be just natural anymore. Earth is slowly dying, you know, water is slowly depleting, the world is in like a drought, animals are disappearing, going extinct, and all of that. And I think we're yearning for something raw and natural and human, something human. And with these makeup looks, it feels human. You know, the rosy cheeks, not only is it youthful, but it feels like when you're like outside for a little bit and you're hot and you're sweating, or you're a little flustered and flushed, you need a little bit of water, your cheeks start getting red and whatnot, you start to burn a little bit, your cheeks start getting red. That's like a natural thing that all humans really deal with. And I feel like makeup looks like that is honing in on that. The like no mascara look is to replicate how we look naturally with nothing on. you know, the super light concealer, super light foundation is, and it's like dewy. These dewy looks is meant to replicate how our skin naturally looks after, like, you know, we've been outside for a little bit, or even when we wake up, like we have that natural dewy look, because, you know, our skin produces oils and whatnot. It's very natural. I think we are toning back, trying to tone into finding something that's human. And because makeup is an art form, that I feel like it's representing that. And yeah, to delve into that as well, another example of us, I feel like, that the world is trying to really look for something human and something natural, is the huge trend of hiking. And I am someone that has hopped onto that, and I love it. Absolutely love it. I feel like a lot of people, I've been seeing a lot of people online, you know, showing their hiking outfits and like going for hikes and going for walks and runs and all that stuff, and, you know, taking photos and stuff of them at the top of their hike and of the nature and stuff like that. And I feel like, because I feel this way too, that's another representation of humans looking for that human feeling of just being connected with the world and being in nature and being one with the surroundings. So it's like when you go hiking, you have to be connected with nature, because you're out in the wilderness, and you're out there not just for exercise, but you're out there to see the wilderness. You're out there to see the trees and the plants and experience the insects and the little critters and animals that you'll meet along the way. And that's one reason why I hike. I love to hike, not only because I'm exercising my body, and it's a great way to exercise, like, it's a full body workout, and it's a great way to do that. But I also enjoy hiking because it allows me to really connect and see things outside of the city, see things outside of things that were man-made, and see things that were just here long before I was, you know? It can be tiresome to always have man-made items just all in your face, buildings and media, you know, social media, phones, just everything. It's just, when you're in nature, you get to see something that's outside of yourself, outside of what your hands can create, and it's very beautiful. And I just went on a hike recently with my boyfriend, and the first thing I told him, first thing I said once we were there and when I got out the car, was like, wow, it is so quiet. Only thing I could hear were the birds chirping and singing. It was incredibly quiet. And I wish I could explain that further, but I really can't. It's genuinely something you just have to experience yourself. But it was so silent. It was so beautiful, and it honestly made me want to cry because of how silent it is. I'm not used to that amount of silence. Even when I'm at home, I'm by myself, like, you know, the AC's not on, nothing, like I hear nothing. It's like I still hear something because I'm in the city. But I'm sure people that live in like rural areas, to where it's not really like bustling, it's not really busy, I'm sure they probably can understand exactly the type of silence that I'm talking about. But always being around man-made things, it's so loud, and it does cloud your mind, it clouds your thoughts, it clouds literally all of your senses, which is why hiking is so relieving, because I get to see, in a way, I get to be around things that are like me, in the way of like, I'm a human, I'm a species, and I'm in my natural territory or my natural habitat, and I'm around things that are the same way. It's very raw, it's very natural, and it feels honest. It doesn't feel like I have to find my way to the truth or anything like that, kind of like how social media is. Like every video you have to question, like, oh, is this actually real, or is it fake, or like, or you have to, sometimes when you start feeling insecure, you have to remind yourself, like, oh, there's so many aspects in this video that makes it not 100% honest. Nature isn't like that. It's 100% honest. What you're seeing is what it is. And I feel like the world is, humans, not the world, but humans are yearning for that honesty in life to where we're seeing it in different art forms. We're seeing it in you know, makeup, music, fashion, day-to-day talk, the rise of people talking about like intellectualism and how critical thinking is disappearing, and how people are trying to pick up books again, and more people are going on hikes and going on walks and going on jogs and trying to be out in nature. And when they go out or go to the beach or go to the park, they're trying not to bring anything else with them so that they can be in the moment. I feel like people, these are clear signs that humans are yearning for that, even if they don't necessarily want to say it out loud. Humans are yearning for that honesty. And the reason why I keep saying honesty, I'm very much aware that I keep using that word, is because that, I feel like that's the best word to describe this feeling, is honesty. That raw honesty that we're missing in our day-to-day lives, which is why makeup is starting to kind of findle its way into just not wearing it or trying to make it look like you're not wearing anything. And people are hiking more, and people are reading and telling people to read, and people are telling people to research and to, you know, write again, and to, you know, listen to music on like vinyls and record players, and to buy CD players, and to go on picnics, and to travel the world, and to meet new people, and all of that stuff. We're looking for that honest connection with the earth, and that honest connection with reality. Meeting people and, you know, seeing them in person, even with makeup on, it's just so much more real than what you see online. Because online there's just so many aspects that go into making a photo or a video dishonest. And when you're seeing something in person, you're seeing it for genuinely what it is. And that's, I think, is what we're really searching for. And I feel like it's unfortunate because the world, electronically and like scientifically, the world is like going in a direction where it's trying to make reality not really exist like that, trying to make reality more fiction, sci-fi type of books, which is why people keep bringing up 1984 by George Orwell. I feel like the world is in that path to like trying to make it more of like a sci-fi instead of just being real life. And people don't really know what to do about it. So now we're just going through this yearning phase and this yearning process, and trying to our hardest as human beings to just do human things that we were made for, things that are good for the soul and the body. And yeah, I was just thinking about that. I'm not sure. I feel like everything that I said makes sense in my head. I may not have explained it correctly, but it all makes sense in my head. And I definitely feel like I'm not the only one that feels this way, for sure. I've been obsessed, like on my Pinterest boards, looking at just like candid photos of people where they're just out and about, and they're just like, it's very raw moments and vulnerable moments where they aren't posing and they aren't doing anything, and you could see, like, you know, the crevices in their skin and everything, and the imperfections of the person and the environment that they're in. And I think it's the most beautiful thing. I've been so obsessed with photos like that and videos like that because it feels so refreshing. It's like when you've been eating fast food so often, and like you finally get like that salad in, and it's like, wow, this is really refreshing. I don't know if anyone's ever felt that way, but I felt that way many of times. It's very refreshing to see people in a state of vulnerability. Couldn't get that word out. And I say vulnerable in a way of like seeing them in a way where they necessarily wouldn't really want everybody to see them because of the standards that we have set for society, in that type of way. And I think it's refreshing because I feel like the standards that we have in the world, I feel like you can't really live up to them. I feel like you can't live up to them. I feel like you can live up to them online, and in a sense you're not even living up to them even when you try to do it online, because it's like online you take a photo, but then you have to go forth and trying to make sure that the lighting is right in that photo or in the video, and you have to go forth trying to make sure that the quality is the right type of quality, and then you have to go forth trying to make sure that your makeup is placed in the right type of way, and then you have to like add music or like sounds behind it, maybe even edit the photo, maybe even edit the video to like kind of like blur out certain things or like focus on different things. And I think like if you have to go through all of that, then I just feel like you just aren't living up to the standard. And I feel like that's everybody. Nobody's living up to the standard, because I believe standards were made with idolizations, not idolizations, but standards were made with by our imagination, and with our imagination it is not real. It's all in our head. They are thoughts that have not transpired into real life, and that's what standards were made by. They were made by imagery in which we thought of in our mind that we have not seen in person. We have not seen this imagery in person. We've only seen it in our head. We created it in our mind, and now we're trying to write it down on paper and say that this is how we need to be. And being that we made it in our mind, standards are like our imaginary friend or imaginary competitor. More like it. It's not, we're not able to get to that, and we're not able to reach those standards, which is why it's refreshing when I see people not trying necessarily in that moment to reach those standards, which is why I love candid photos, because they're candid. They're when you're not paying attention, when you're not thinking, when you're just in the middle of doing whatever you're doing and you don't know that the camera's there. That's why I love them so much, because in that very moment you aren't trying to reach for that standard, because you didn't even know that the camera was there. Once you knew that the camera was there, you probably would have been trying to reach for that standard. And that's why I like candid photos so much. That's why I like hiking, and that's why I love the new trend, the makeup trend of like looking like we're just not really wearing anything, or like we've just gone outside and came back inside. I love that look. I love it so much, and it makes me feel so much more confident in myself as well when I see other people engaging and just being their natural self. And that's not to bash on anybody that is trying to live up to the standards, or even if they're not consciously trying to live up to the standards, or like, you know, doing certain things to make themselves feel more confident. Whatever makes you feel confident is whatever makes you feel confident, and I will support you whatever that is. But that still doesn't take away from the fact that it is refreshing to feel people just live, you know, not always thinking about their looks, not always thinking about what they have to do today, not always thinking about what they need to get done for the future, whatever, just living in the present, just living and just being a human being. It's okay to just be. And I feel like the world has made it to where it's scary and it feels lazy and wrong to just simply be, but it's very refreshing and it's very beautiful to just simply be a human and to just live with the environment and the earth in which was created to house us. I think it's very refreshing when we're able to do that, and especially when I'm able to do that. It's very, very refreshing, and I'm happy to see people yearning for it, because the more you yearn for something, the more you want to take steps and actions towards gaining it. And I hope that even more people start to yearn for that feeling of rawness and honesty with themselves, internally, externally, and with the world around them. I really hope more people want that, because it'll just lead to the trends being much more healthier, and people will genuinely feel that more people will start being more confident with themselves, more comfortable with themselves, and with people around them. And yeah, so that's really just what I wanted to talk about today, because it was on my mind for a couple of days now, and I kind of wanted to just say it out loud to kind of solidify my thought process and what I was feeling and what I was thinking. And yeah, I'm Summer Rain, in case you were wondering. And yeah, if you're interested in more videos like this, feel free to, follow along with me so that we can have these type of conversations with each other. And if you have any thoughts or anything that you want to share about what I talked about, please leave them in the comments, because I don't like to just fully sit with my own thoughts. I like to also incorporate other people's thoughts too. I feel like it makes us more well-rounded people, and it helps us really determine how we actually feel and how we actually think. I don't want to be biased at all. So I would love if you have an opinion, or if you're like, actually I don't think you're right, or whatever, or like, oh, I don't actually align with what you're thinking, please feel free to share, because I want to know whether you're agreeing with me and you feel the same way, or whether you don't. I want to know. So please be sure to let me know, because I'm genuinely curious, wholeheartedly. So if you watch this video, I do really thank you, and I hope you join me in on the conversation. So bye.